Hi, I'm Paul Van Slyke, and I'm a safety consultant to US Ski and Snowboard and the Kelly Brush Foundation. This presentation is the next level of the original Clean Hill Initiative that has made such a positive impact on athlete safety at all levels of alpine ski racing. We have changed the culture in how we see obstacles on our field of play, with the shared responsibility and realization that we all do share this responsibility in keeping our racing and training venues clear of obstacles that may otherwise be moved to another location outside of the field of play. The original Clean Hill Initiative presentation reached far beyond expectation. It is referred to at team captains meetings and on the field of play, and it's being used by organizing committees around the world to teach coaches, officials, volunteers, and pretty much anyone in alpine ski racing about its benefits for athlete safety. The reaction has been fantastic. The positive change has motivated our community to view what was previously accepted clutter on our race courses into changing our culture and questioning any item deemed not necessary on the field of play, whether it be people, gates, tools, or equipment. Our eyes now see what may be removed or placed elsewhere. We have come a long way, though we certainly can do more. The goal, through small changes in how we behave, we can provide a cleaner field of play for our athletes. The original goal, then and now, are quite the same. Let's change how we behave, bringing fewer items onto the field of play, viewing from further distances, and educating others about the Clean Hill Initiative. All this combined can only improve the athlete's safety. The presence of coaches, officials, and volunteers, though they are required on racing and training slopes, they can pose a negative effect on athlete safety. We can minimize our profile by removing items like drills, backpacks, skis, and race equipment to a location outside of the field of play. Required equipment should be in the hands of the user, whether it be a drill, a shovel, or any other item. By keeping such items in your possession when you have a need to react to a situation like a fallen athlete, the equipment will move with the user. This image is an example of what was accepted by our alpine community culture prior to the original Clean Hill Initiative. We have come a long way since this image was taken, which is a tribute to all of you that spread the Clean Hill Initiative model. This image is a great example of how far our efforts have taken us. Little to no equipment inside the venue, which provides an arena where our athletes can more safely test their skills. This video is a terrific example of a very clean environment. When the athlete gets into trouble, the B-net works well to slow the athlete. Notice the coach with his drill in his holster and keeping his eyes on the athlete throughout the entire scene. This example is a reminder of how quickly things can take place. Distracted coaches, a drill drilled into the hill. No one here had a chance to move from the athlete's path. This is a visual of how adherence to the Clean Hill Initiative can impact the safety of not only the athlete, but to also others on the field of play. This video was in the original Clean Hill Initiative, coaches attempting to get out of the way from the falling athlete. We need to be conscious of the fact that the best video location may be dangerous for the athletes and those shooting the video. Thankfully, no one was injured in this example, though you can see how this could have ended otherwise. Here we have course workers doing their tasks, and though it may only be slalom, we all know that gear left behind will not get out of the way of a falling athlete. By moving the gear behind the B-nets, it may save an athlete injury. All this gear could easily be placed outside of the B-nets. I can't speak enough about why this is not a good idea. Allowing seats on a race course is not in the best interest of anyone. Not only can the athlete be injured by hitting this stationary object, the person sitting in the chair has no way to react quickly enough to move out of the way, also facing potential injury. Chairs of any kind have no place inside a racing or training arena. Even at our highest levels of competition, we can do better. Though some of the images and footage come from recent World Cup venues, it's not intended to single out a single location or place. We can all improve with small efforts. The intent is to use these images as educational tools to share valuable lessons we can all use to educate our community. Note the proximity of the course to the B-nets, and though the cameraman is well padded, just below him are obstacles that an athlete can potentially hit. The upside-down spare poles could be right side up and leaning against the B-net, which has become the common practice. This way, when the athlete encounters the B-net, the spare pole will move with the system rather than be a hard hit across the athlete's body. When they are inserted with the base at face level, the pole becomes a rigid object that's going to hurt the athlete regardless of how they encounter them. Athletes make mistakes, and when they do, it's unpredictable where they may go and what they may encounter. Fast or slow speed, hitting obstacles can hurt the athlete. Note the cluster of upside-down spare poles. There's a drill inserted rigid in the snow and the rake by the B-net. The poles could be right side up, leaning against the B-net, the drill in a course worker's holster, and a rake in the operator's hands, which would eliminate all of these obstacles. If these items are not needed, they should be moved outside the field of play or sent back to the start so they can be dispatched to another worker that may be in need of equipment. In this slide, notice again the upside-down spare poles that could be placed right side up, leaning against the B-nets, and the backpacks which could be placed outside of the B-nets. It's nice to note that the course worker is holding the gate to rather than it being placed in the snow. More of the same here in this slide. Though some of the gear is behind the B-net, it would take a small effort to make this a better situation. This racing athlete is very close to these staged poles. Is this too close? A hooked tip or bobble could send this athlete directly into these upside down poles. Hitting a quiver of these poles placed on the inside of a racing arena will likely injure an athlete. As moderate winters continue to challenge our ability to generate man-made and especially natural snowfall, our organizers are challenged to prepare a race venue to work in these less than ideal circumstances. In the bottom image, it's quite obvious that the resort had difficult challenges to create and prepare this venue for racing due to warm conditions and lack of snow. It's truly remarkable how the efforts of many organizing committees throughout the world have seemingly made something out of virtually nothing in attempts to keep our World Cup alive. When this is the case, and in particular at this venue, the trail is narrower than it would be in a normal winter. In these cases, it may be appropriate to change some of the tactics to manage equipment and people. The top image shows the slip crews staged, ready to accomplish their mission. though the cluster of people is quite dense and only 8 to 10 meters from the race line. If an athlete may get caught on their inside ski, they could quickly find themselves on a trajectory aiming at this group. As shown in earlier videos, it would be very difficult, if not impossible, for this group to get out of the way of the competing athlete. How could this be resolved? Possibly by limiting the number of slippers at each stop location to only 2 to 3, which would provide a much better chance for them to get out of the way of the falling athlete. Yes, this is a World Cup video image. What obstacles do you see that could be improved upon? And this is a reminder from the original Clean Hill Initiative. A drill bit, no matter if made from aluminum or any other material, if it is drilled into the snow inside the racing or training arena and it's impacted by an athlete, it will hurt the athlete. Please refrain from this practice. It's best practice to keep your drill in a holster or in your hand, and if not needed, inside your backpack outside the arena. This is the summary of the original Clean Hill Initiative. In summary, move tools and equipment to a place unlikely to be impacted by an athlete. Backpacks, skis, any equipment, always place it outside the B-nets if you can. And if you see something that's not right, fix it if you know how. Or tell the jury or the head coach so that they can address the situation. This video is a great example of a clean hill, and I wish to thank you for your participation today. We hope that you continue to participate and educate others. On another level, we all know that we are involved in an outside sport that combines snow and weather that can change in an instant. This fact keeps our focus on planning for outcomes that are unpredictable, in which we must strive to notice every detail that we can. We need to be cognizant of how changing weather can influence our safety systems. Thus, I wish to share the next videos that will show you examples of B-nets that needed attention, and in one case it was seemingly not addressed, while in the second video it was addressed. In this case, conditions appear to be less than ideal. The B-nets are present and standing, though the integrity of the installation may be compromised by the previous day and current day's weather. When surface conditions are questionable, the same applies to the B-net system, which should be thoroughly inspected each day. The athlete in this video pushed through the B-net almost like it was not there and proceeded to hit the permanent fence behind it. Snow conditions can change rapidly, particularly when you have large swings in temperature, sunshine, and rain. Though the snow may have frozen overnight, the sun or rain from the day prior can cause melting and enlargement of the B-net holes. It's important not to be complacent in the idea that if you see B-net, that you assume it's okay. Each day, the systems should be checked by all stakeholders, including the race jury, coaches, officials, and yes, even athletes. We play a shared role collaborating to host training and racing. Could this outcome have been different? Thankfully, the athlete was not injured in this situation. This example is one that extreme weather played a role. The previous day it rained heavily and snow became soft. Overnight it froze quite well. On first inspection early this day, the coaches and jury put out a message to all coaches asking to reset the B-net as the poles were loose and the holes had rotted from the previous day's weather. Had the B-net not been reset, this athlete may not have impacted a tight B-net system. As a result of the jury and coach's effort, thankfully he walked away from this fall with no injuries. His coach, who took this video, Stever Bartlett of Middlebury College, shared this quote: "That morning, the B-net poles were like pencils in a tin can," meaning that the holes were too large for the B-net poles. A group of us reset the entire section, and thankfully so. It's a shared effort that has become ingrained in our culture of alpine ski racing. Whether it's building the B-net, installing it, replacing it as needed, or moving a drill or a backpack, the action may keep an athlete from being injured. Again, I thank you for your participation and continued effort in keeping our training and racing venues clean. Thank you for your time today, and I wish you a very successful season.